Hello there guys, today I'm just here to do part 2 of my tongue split video. As I'm sure everyone has already figured out, I got my tongue split after all. I had some worry that I wasn't going to get it done because I've tried many times over the years. I've had to pause it in for like 2 or 3 years and kind of have to get everything right for me to get it done. So right up until the last minute, right up until I was sitting down to get it done, I still wasn't sure it was going to happen. I didn't want to believe it was going to happen too strongly, and then it didn't happen, and then I'm disappointed. So I am still talking a little strange. Please give me the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully by next week I'll be talking almost completely normal. But I have heard from some people that it takes just a little bit of like almost relearning how to use certain words. Because obviously your tongue moves differently now. And even for me, I had a tongue tie before the procedure that had to be cut. We actually cut that before we did the split. So for me, it's even a little more complicated because I have, for the first time in my life, the use of the back side of my tongue. I've never been able to fully move my tongue before. So that will change the way I phrase things, or not phrase things, but articulate things as well. I've had to do lots of muscle exercises with my tongue and stuff like that, even just like holding it up, because when I first started, I couldn't touch, like flip my tongue up and touch the back of my throat kind of thing, but I've been lifting my tongue up and pushing it back to kind of jog the muscle. And it's given me some more function in it. Anyway, I'm sure that's not what a lot of people want to talk about, is my tongue tie and how that works. A lot of people probably want to know the story of the tongue split, how it happened, and how the healing was and all that, and what it looks like. So I'll show it off. So it's a little spitty. It's still a lot of saliva in there because it's still a little bit swollen, but so I have a short tongue, so my split wasn't super deep, but I was pretty happy with what I got out of it, because I actually thought it would even be shorter than that, because you can't cut too deep into the tongue. It's all based on your anatomy, how deep you can go. So we got a pretty good result. We got a deeper result than we thought we were going to get before we cut the tongue tie, because when we did that, I had another couple centimeters of length on my tongue that I could stick it out. So we got a pretty good result with the length of it, all things considered. I'm not disappointed with that at all. Now I'm hoping that as it heals, it doesn't reattach too much. I've had all kinds of people telling me all kinds of tricks about like how to keep your tongue from regrowing and stuff like that, but the guy who did it, Russ Fox, who I'll tag his channel in this video, he's told me basically just to keep playing with it and, you know, kind of teaching one side to stay away from the other and stuff like that. Like just playing with each side a lot will naturally prevent a lot of regrowth, and a lot of the crazy methods that people are telling me will just cause more scarring and more problems down the road if I ever want to split it again for some additional length, because that's something you can do. If you're not happy with how long your tongue split is the first time, the second time it's much easier to go deeper, and not much deeper, but whatever you do cut is much more likely to stay that deep, because the skin or the tissue has some memory of that, and there's less that you're cutting through. Obviously, I don't know all the particulars of it, but I don't need to. I'm not doing the surgery. I just sort of parroting what I've been told. So I did end up going up. I had a big meal before I went. I was super full when I got there, thankfully. I didn't know how much I was going to miss real food a couple days in. I even tried to eat a little bit of macaroni on the third night, because I was so tired of milkshakes and protein drinks and stuff like that, that I thought, oh, what if I just cook some macaroni super soft? Maybe I can get it done. Well, for me, my tongue was just too swollen on the backside to eat anything at all, and the macaroni was just not an option. I did manage to get some mashed potatoes in on the 4th day, and then I ate those the 5th and 6th night as well. And those were the best mashed potatoes I've ever had, for sure. I've never had mashed potatoes taste so good in all my life. So that was a nice treat. The actual procedure itself wasn't too painful. Honestly, on the lower end of things that I've done. The healing was not nearly as bad as, say, finger blackouts or foot blackout, to where I can't lift anything with this hand or this hand for the period of a week or more sometimes, and you're afraid of touching anything because everything is an open sore and there's all kinds of contaminants around you no matter where you put your hands, kind of thing. So at least with your tongue, it's in your mouth, and as long as you're doing your saline rinses and your basic oral hygiene, brushing your teeth every day and continuing to mouthwash every day, and yes, you do still do those things, as long as you keep your mouth super sterile, make sure after you eat anything you wash with saline. It's pretty easy to take care of a tongue split. Really, there was no worry that I was going to do something wrong with it. I didn't have that concern. I had that concern with finger blackouts because they're always exposed. Tongue is pretty safe. So the actual procedure wasn't bad at all. I could even talk a little bit right after. But on the way home, I had my wits about me. I wasn't in a lot of pain, but my tongue was swelling up pretty fast, and I wasn't used to that sensation. So it kind of felt like my tongue was too big for my mouth. I even joked, I texted my wife, because I couldn't tell her in words that it felt more like I had two tongues rather than one split in half, just for the size of the tongue filling up my mouth. It was quite strange. It wasn't nearly as big on the way home as it ended up by day 2 or 3, though. It got a lot more swollen, but I noticed it more immediately after because it was new. So when it was at its most swollen, it actually didn't feel as swollen to me as it did on the way home that night. But I didn't bring enough ice with me. I brought a bag of ice and a big cup for water, or a cup of water, a bunch of water bottles to fill it. And I was just guzzling water like crazy. I was real thirsty. And the ice felt good on my tongue. So my advice to anyone listening to this would be bring more ice than I did, because we didn't have enough. I would have never imagined. But then again, if we had been home, I had lots of ice in the freezer. So if I could have just done it and gone right home, say I lived in the same city, then I wouldn't have had that problem. But obviously I had a 2.5 hour drive home. So just a little underprepared. Not completely. We had to stop at one gas station and get some more. But yeah, overall not super painful ride home, just really swollen. I took a leave for most of my pain. You could also take ibuprofen, extra strength ibuprofen. The pain and the swelling is recommended, just because if you swell too much, otherwise if you don't take anti-inflammatory of some kind, it's very likely you'll swell too much and push some of the sutures out. And if you push those out, then any of those that you lose, your tongue will regrow together because it does not want to be apart. And it's most important to keep those stitches in for the cursory, 5 to 6 day kind of thing. If you don't keep them in that long, you'll have a lot more regrowth for sure. So far, mine looks pretty good. It looks almost the way it did when it got cut, but obviously my tongue was super swollen. So in that first picture, even the picture I'll use for the thumbnail for this video, it will look a little deeper, but that's because my tongue is huge. And it's also being pulled apart with forceps or whatever, clamps. So it's going to look more dramatic in that picture than it will once it's healed and settled and not super swollen anymore. So that's a bit of a trick of the mind, because obviously your tongue's good. Both sides are going to look longer when the whole thing is fresh because it's swollen. So don't trip yourself up too much with that. Some other things to note. While the healing was kind of crap, it wasn't too bad, as I said. The most painful part of the whole thing for me was getting my stitches out. Because even though I had a nurse friend in town, took it out the day that I was asked to get them out. I was asked to get them out on day 5. My tongue had already started healing over the very back stitches, like right at the base in here. So getting those out was a little bit difficult. They were put in super solid. Russ used some type of cord stitches, so my tongue could not grow over the cord kind of thing. But even then, my tongue was starting to grow attached to the stitches. So if I had waited much longer, it probably would have been really, really painful to get them, like more painful to get them out. And they probably would have had to even been a little bit scalpeled out. We were able to just get them out with basic nursing tools. That I don't know exactly what she used, but it helped for me to have a nurse friend to call on for this because, as she said, not just anyone could have done this. It's a good thing you didn't try and do this yourself because you could have really hurt yourself kind of thing. I'm sure some people could handle taking them out. I could handle the pain of taking them out on my own, but I wouldn't be dexterous enough to get them out. So I would just make a giant mess in the pursuit, and it would be probably worse healing. I'd develop more scar tissue and all that. So I was recommended to have a piercer or a nurse or something like that take them out, and for good reason. I can honestly testify that that is great advice because the most painful part of the whole thing for me was getting the stitches out. And once the stitches were out, there was like no more pain. Now, even as I say that, right now I still have a strange sensation in my tongue, like near the tips and a little bit around the edges of the sides of the tongue. It feels almost like my tongue, like when you eat something that's too hot. I'm sure that pain, or not pain, but that feeling will go away over the next few days or a few weeks or whatever. It's not super bothersome though. It's just like kind of like a reminder that something was done. So I think I have less heat sensitivity now than I did yesterday, but I'm still being really cautious with like drinking hot drinks and eating hot food. It's good to eat warm food now and stuff, but when I first got my tongue split, everything was cold. I didn't let anything hot touch my tongue. No hot food, no hot drinks, nothing. So I was real cold for a while because all I was drinking was ice water and stuff. So, though it is really tempting to get something hot into you, some big meal into you, just stay real chill. Like just eat soft food, if anything, and just eat milkshakes and shakes and stuff like that. And yeah, it should be fine. Now, I am talking pretty good right now, but I'm hoping to be talking better soon. And I'm hoping that I'll be articulating even better than before all of this because of the lack of the tongue tie. But even if I develop a slight more lisp, because I've heard that can happen when you split your tongue. I've heard you can slur your words a little more long-term kind of thing. That wouldn't really concern me too much because, as I've said, I've had a little bit of a lisp anyway. So I feel I'm in a position to, if anything, improve my speech. And if it gets a little worse, then whatever. It's not like it was perfect before. So I have everything to gain and nothing to lose kind of thing. And overall, I just really, really like it. I'm always fidgeting with it, and it turns out that's a good thing. Like, you don't want to just sit it and never move it, because the less you move it, the more chance it can regrow. So if you're a fidgety person like I am anyway, I'm always playing with my lip jewelry or something. Tongue split's a great choice because you can always just be flipping it around in your mouth and stuff while you're sitting around watching TV or whatever. And not only can you do that, it's recommended you do that. So anyway, starting to babble a little bit. I'll probably make some more videos about my tongue split down the road. If I learn any cool tricks, I'll definitely show those off too. But for now, I can't do a whole lot with one side or the other. It still moves a little bit, set like one piece. I can do like a few things, but it's not super impressive yet, so it's nothing to write home about. I'm hoping with more time I can get a little better at that stuff. Anyway, I'll be talking to you guys again soon, and have a great day.